Hi, everyone. It's Kali Persall, editor of Institutional Investing and Infrastructure, here with Silvia Ruiz of Ferrovial today to talk about highways and the transport sector and public-private partnerships. So, thank you, Silvia, so much for joining me. Do you mind just giving us a little introduction of yourself and sort of what you do at the company?
Sure. Thank you, Kali, for having me. Well, my name is Silvia Ruiz. I'm Global Head of Investor Relations at Ferrovial. I've worked in Ferrovial my whole career. So I started as a trainee, actually. I've always worked in the financial department. 3 years ago, I was offered the opportunity of moving back to Madrid, which is my born city, to be in charge of the IR team. And since then, very much in contact with, especially with US investors and leading the IR team that is based in between Madrid and New York. I'm very happy to be here with you.
Yes, thank you so much for joining me, and I appreciate you giving that sort of background on yourself. So, when it comes to highways, which you have a lot of experience in, obviously, which sort of regions or markets are the most attractive for development right now, and why do you think so?
Well, I'd say that clearly the US is where we see more opportunities for this type of projects. And then I will touch on what areas within the US, right? And why is that? Well, basically, for these projects to work and to make sense, you need some dynamics. So you need fast growing cities with a certain level of congestion, and with that congestion expected to grow through the fast-growing cities, right? So you find those dynamics in the US, actually. That's the example, for example, for Dallas Fort Worth, where we are running 3 of these projects. What happened there is that they really made a commitment on improving connectivity. Cities try to compete in between them to attract business, to attract people, but connectivity is key for that, because no one is going to move the headquarters to a city where there's a lot of traffic and congestion is a kind of a mess, right? And this type of projects offers a great solution to solve that congestion and to help with those connectivity, because they provide a reliable alternative. So it is not only about time savings, of course it is, but also about reliability, right? So that's the example for Dallas Fort Worth, of course, but we see many more opportunities coming in other cities with the same dynamics, like Atlanta, for example. Nashville is another example, Charlotte in North Carolina. So yeah, I'm very optimistic because we really see an attractive pipelines, because we see more cities interested on this type of projects to help them to solve congestion and improve connectivity.
Absolutely, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When we're looking at sort of innovations or technologies, things like AI-powered traffic management systems or others, which ones do you think are gaining traction in the sector, and what else are you sort of seeing in terms of that?
I'd say that AI is becoming a thing, right? And now everyone is talking about that. Well, these projects, it's important to understand that these type of projects, these managed lanes, are dynamically priced. So basically, prices changes every 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how traffic is performing. So depending on congestion, basically. So that helps us a lot to really provide a good solution to the user, right? And for that, for example, AI is helping a lot. And why? Because demand segmentation is key. So it's key. For example, we have an algorithm that helps us to change that pricing. And with AI, we are improving that algorithm. And how? Well, we can anticipate events that are going to be creating congestion. So, for example, let's say that in Virginia, you have Taylor Swift in a concert. You know that you're going to have more congestion. So you can anticipate and adapt your pricing strategy in order to offer a best value for your users and avoid, because it is very important that, as I said, you are offering a reliable solution. So you cannot charge a user for being stuck in traffic. So you need to make sure that you are offering a good value for money to your users, right? So that's why being able to anticipate those events where they're going to be more congestion, a Dallas Cowboys football match or whatever, it's key. And AI is really helping with that.
That's very interesting. Obviously, that seems so important, and AI seems to be everywhere. So, how can public-private partnerships accelerate development, drive innovation, and modernization efforts when it comes to highways or the transport sector in general?
I believe that this type of collaboration between public and private sector is key. And why is that? Well, these projects are very complex from a construction point of view because you are building a road, adding capacity to a corridor that is already congested, right? So you need to manage building a couple of lanes or widening the actual lanes while there's a lot of activity ongoing. So it's not just building a road in the middle of nowhere, right? And that's very complex from a construction point of view, and that's costly as well, right? So it's both costly and complex. And in this case, I believe that the private sector can help and can help because we have the expertise of delivering this type of projects. If you put that together with the fact that there are some sources appointing of a future funding gap of 4 trillion when referring to infrastructure in the US, right? So 4 trillion by 2040. There are some sources talking about that. And that's a lot of money, and the private sector can really help to fund that gap and to, through this collaboration, to help public grantors to use that money to free some budget to use that money for other purposes, right? So we believe that combining that expertise from the private sector with the fact of at some point in time having some budget constraints, it's going to be really very, very helpful, right? That collaboration is key. As I said before, we really see the sector in a very sweet moment, let's say, with more projects coming and with more cities looking at what they have seen, for example, in Dallas, in terms of how connectivity has improved. So we are very optimistic about future trends and of this type of projects.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good message, and I'm glad to hear that's sort of what you're seeing. Looking ahead, what are some key considerations when setting out to build well-managed tech-enabled transport infrastructure for the future?
We believe that this type of partnership should be seen as a long-term partnership. So you need to really position yourself as a partnership helping the public grantor with a congestion issue, right? So long-term partnerships are key, and you need to think and to approach these projects with a really long-term view. And for me, delivery is key. So you need to make delivery. And we, in our case, and apologies for mentioning ourselves, but Ferrovial has proved to be very successful in that regard. So all the projects, we have been able to deliver them on time, actually, most of them ahead of time. And that's key because the grantor really needs a reliable partner. So they really need to see someone and it's going to make delivery. And that is key. Is key to manage risks during the construction phase and during all the complex process that you need to face. And that's one part. So delivery on the, let's say, construction side. And on the other part, I would say that data is key for this demand segmentation that I was mentioning before. So for me, the two keys, let's say, of the success partnership is, of course, long-term view, delivery from a construction point of view, and data-driven that helps to maximize the value for users that you are offering. Because, as I said, it's really key that you offer a reliable alternative to your users.